All right, I think we are going live right now, Cristiano. I think we're good. All right. So, let us get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Otto's Grotto, all things geek and unique, featuring three men in a basement. I am Otto. This is my grotto. Unfortunately, I am just solo. I do have my minion, Cristiano Alfred, down here, the Lego expert, putting together a huge Lego set. Cristiano, say what's up to everybody.
What's up?
What's up? He's working on a huge Lego set, so hopefully he will get that done in a couple days. It's a big set. It's got the Bat Cave from the Batman movie. I put it on my Instagram, so if you're following me, please follow me on Everett Otto on Instagram. I also have my other 3 Men in a Basement, at Roger Levesque, and my executive producer, Bernie 1869. This is the Wednesday night special. We're going to call this the recent and raw pickups, because the books I'm going to show are all my recent pickups, and they're all raw, nothing slabbed. I just want to get started and say, if you're around Saturday night around 9 o'clock, it is St. Patrick's Day, so if the libations haven't got to you in the St. Patrick's Day spirit, we are going to have a live 3 Men in a Basement going on. We'll be live on YouTube, live on Instagram. Hopefully we'll have all three of us here talking about some great stuff. We're going to talk about what we think about the Infinity Gauntlet. I've got something great that I want to share, a book that I have, my Iron Man 55, whether or not I want to get it triple signed. I'm also going to talk about Jessica Jones, which I just finished, and I have my opinions on that. And I am going to just talk about some stuff. So hopefully it'll be me, Roger, and Pat. We'll be down here in the grotto this Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're around, please join us. So I'm going to get started with some books that I picked up. And I kind of did them in order from the stuff that I like. And I'm going to go with this first book right here. This is Ninjak. This is Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. And right there we have Bloodshot on the cover. It was one of my favorite books. Now, I'm so old. I've been collecting so long that I remember buying these off the rack. So I do have this full run of Bloodshot and Ninjak. And this is Jason David Frank, and he was actually the first Green Power Ranger in this. I don't know if this is a variant cover or not. It's got to be. But I just saw something recently saying that Vin Diesel is going to play Bloodshot, which I really hope not. You know, I've been up and down throughout Vin Diesel's career. I've watched him. I thought he was great as Riddick. I thought Fast and the Furious, he was good. He had his parts, you know. So I'm up and down about it. But I first saw Jason David Frank, and I was like, this guy's a good character. This guy fits it well. He goes to quite a few cons, but I have yet to meet him. Maybe this is something that would be signed, get signed. Nice silver pen. Maybe get a CGC on that. Hopefully get a decent grade, 9.6 or better. I do have 2 people watching, so if you're in the chat right now, guys, give me a holler. I'll try to man this myself and give you, my feedback if there's anything you want to talk about. But I am going to talk about my recent pickups. I do have some stuff out here that is kind of like a prelude to some of the shows that we're going to be talking about. I have recently picked up the Super Friends video on DVD. This is the second time I bought this, actually. The Challenge of the Super Friends. I'm a huge Super Friends fan. That's what I grew up to. Legion of Superheroes was my absolute Legion of Super Villains was Legion of Doom was actually my favorite. And between me, Bernie 1869, and Nemesis Prime, we've been working on completing our run and who can get books fast enough to complete the run. You know, a book we'll never own, and it's in question is the first appearance of Lex Luthor. So that book we're going to have to acquiesce on. And the books are kind of high priced, you know. The first appearance of Cheetah, that's going up now that she was just signed. I was just on eBay looking at that. But, you know, the first appearance of Toymaker, that's not too expensive. So you can kind of pick and choose, and especially what, how you want it, raw or slab. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about my recent pickups. So I will get started. And I've read some of these. I haven't read some of these. I do like to say that I do read my books. I'm not somebody that just buys it for the artwork. If you do that, that's okay. You know, that's your collection. There's something I've learned now that this is my second time being in the collecting game. When I first started collecting, I was a kid, 10 years old, all the way up till I was a teenager. I stopped for many years, but always dabbled in it. But now that I'm full blown into it, when I was a kid, I was like, you have to buy everything and you have to have the full runs. and it has to be comics. Now, I think the game has changed so much. You have people that just buy the books for the artwork. You have the guys that buy for specific artists. You got guys that just check in variants. You got statues, figures, all this stuff. So everybody's collection is very, very eccentric, and they personalize it to themselves, and that's great. You know, my collection has gone from, you know, a couple books to my X-Men. I'm buying books. Now I'm finding out I do have X-Men 1 to 300. They're not all raw. I mean, they're not all slabs. They're not all in mint condition, but I do have them all. And what I'm finding, though, is that I'm buying slabbed copies of the books that I really, really like. But you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to talk about slabbed books. So we have Ninjak Kills the Valiant Universe. I have yet to read this, but I'm hoping it's a good read because Valiant was always very good on their reads. The next one we have is another Image book by Robert Kirkman, Oblivion Song. I have heard great things about this, and I'm very excited to read it. I did not get in on The Walking Dead when it first came out, although I did have a stack of #1s in my hand back in the day at a comic shop, and I said, we've got, what, emotional vampires, and now what are we going to have, emotional zombies? It's a black and white book. This is crap. I should have learned my lesson, and I should have bought 10 of them because I could have, and I had them in my hands. Do I expect this to be that way? I really don't. I am looking for something good to read, so I do have high hopes for this, and I'm really looking forward to digging in and reading this, all right? Now, my Walking Dead collection is very weak at best. I do have 1, 2, and 3. I picked those up over Christmas time. I found them at my LCS Raw. I've got them right underneath where we are right here, and I'm about to send those to CGC and get those out. But, you know, I am a product of the 80s, so the 80s artists were very big and influential to me. John Byrne, Dave Cockrum, Frank Miller, Bill Sienkiewicz. A very funny story about Bill Sienkiewicz. When I was a kid, his art was very abstract, and I didn't get it, right? I didn't get it. I wanted detailed characters, buff characters, big flying capes, laser beams, and stuff like that. Bill Sienkiewicz's art on Moon Knight, on Rom, was very, very abstract, and it was very hard for me to understand. But now, I think it's fantastic. So I have been picking up The Walking Dead's. So, you know, they have these right here. And then I just recently picked up the Governor, the Bill Sienkiewicz Governor. And I think that's the third one in the run. And I am going to read them all. That's my goal this summer, is to read them all. And guys, if you're in the chat right now, give me a holler, you know, so I know that you're in there. Kind of getting off topic right here. But yeah. So I've got that. Really, this is the third one. Great, great covers. I have never met Bill Sienkiewicz. I've met a lot of artists. Of course, I've never met John Byrne. I'd love to. I did meet Dave Cockrum. Rest in peace, Dave. When I was a kid, he signed one of my books at an LCS that I used to go to as a kid. But, you know, obviously Dave Cockrum, that's not a signature that you're going to get anymore. Speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, I did pick this up at a local con for $1. And, I mean, for $1, this is what, you can't beat this. The ROM Annual, done by Bill Sienkiewicz, you know, a great version of ROM. I do not own the original ROM toy. I will buy it at some point when I buy a ROM #1. I don't have a ROM #1. I apologize. I have a raw ROM #1 that I bought off the rack when I was a kid. It's seen its wear and tear because I've read it so many times. But maybe I'll get a slabbed copy. So these are my Bill Sienkiewicz books that hopefully, you know, I live on the East Coast. And, you know, maybe if I get a chance or he's around, I'll get him to sign it and get a couple of his signatures. Because that's kind of my goal, is to meet a lot of my favorite artists and at least get something signed. You know, yeah, just one of the things, one of the goals that I have in this comic book career, or comic book collecting career myself. I did pick up Spider-Gwen, the Gwenno #2, the second printing. Really cool cover, great colors, and just a good book. My buddy Bernie 1869 picked that up for me. Really, really neat as far as the body design, the angles, the colors, and stuff like that. Just a great book. Not too familiar with this whole Spider-Verse storyline. I do know the premise of it, but it's not something that I've read as far as recently. But just a good book to have. And second printing. Can't go wrong. Second, third printings, you know, always good to have. All right. Now, let's talk about my favorite artist right now who's absolutely killing the game, and it's Live Rock Mattina. And Mattina is just killing these covers. I was lucky to pick up this Spawn 283 that he absolutely murdered. And just a very great cover. Blues and greens and blacks. You know, I can't believe Spawn is still out. I can't believe McFarlane's still doing Spawn. I mean, everybody must have those books. I've got the newsstand edition. I've got 1 through 50, I think, because that's something I had sitting in a box. You know, is it ever going to be worth anything? I don't know. You know, that issue number 8 or 9 of Angelica, you know, the angel version, the devil, you know, all these different versions of Spawn and stuff like that. It's kind of gone in so many different directions, but after 218 episodes or issues, you know, it's going to happen. So, great cover. Mattina at its best. So, you know, really happy to have this. I'm just going to slab it, or not slab it, I'm just going to put it in a nice cardboard, you know, put a nice backing in it, put it away, and that's just another Mattina I have. Speaking with Mattina, I do have Spider-Man The Amazing Spider-Man number 32. Another Mattina cover that I was able to pick up. Just a great book. You can see, I think it's like the Hobgoblin, and you've got the smoking lantern and stuff like that, but just really cool. If you guys are in the chat right now, and if you can't see the glare, let me know. I'm really trying to mess with the lighting down here in my grotto, so just to make sure it looks better. This isn't going on. We're not even, the Live from Otto's Grotto has only been going for about a year now, you know, and, you know, please share us. Please give us some likes. If you got somebody, say, hey, check this out. Please give us some subscriptions because, you know, we just hit 100 subscriptions. To me, that's like gold. Other guys have thousands. But, you know, we start from the grassroots and we work up. So, you know, hopefully we'll have some big things coming this summer. Now, what I am really, really excited for, I read the first issue. I was a huge fan. I'm so happy that Grand Admiral Thrawn is now considered canon for the Star Wars universe, especially since he's in Star Wars Rebels. So that was great. He was in Heir to the Empire. It was a 3-issue book. I actually have those in paperback and hardcover because that was a time when Star Wars was in limbo. It was before Episode 1. And, you know, I grew up to Star Wars, 1977. I was there when it started. I saw it all. It actually changed my life. It is my Star Wars A New Hope is my favorite movie of all time. I can recite it back and forth. God rest Carrie Fisher. You know, Princess Leia. I have tons of figures, tons of stuff, and it's just been a very important thing in my life. But Grand Admiral Thrawn number 1. Fantastic. Fantastic that you know his backstory. You know where he's starting to come from. You know about his rise to power. And he is one of the best villains in the Star Wars universe. He is a tactician. He is manipulative. He is masterful. And he's highly intelligent. And he deserves all the props in the world. So this book was great. I just picked up number 2 for my LCS today. I'm going to give that a read. I can't wait. But this book, I read it twice. And it is great. It talks about the planet that he came from, who his people were, and where he's coming from. Just a great book. There were also 3 variants. I got 2 out of 3. I missed the 1 in 50 Mattina variant. Hopefully I'll get that. But I'm okay because I did pick up the Star Wars Thrawn number 1. This is the Star Wars Rebel variant. Great depiction of Thrawn. You know, if you're watching Star Wars Rebels, it's absolutely fantastic. It moves along well. The characters are well done. And it's all canon and it's relevant. And in Star Wars, you have to understand that there's been so many different stories and so many different things that this is all part of the Star Wars universe. And I couldn't be happier. People say that Disney is ruining Star Wars. I disagree. When I was a kid, when I was my son's age, I just had Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope. I begged for stuff like this, you know, and now that Disney is doing a Star Wars theme park, forget about it. I am all in, you know, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. And it's very funny because if my executive producer was here, he would heckle me really bad because I don't own Star Wars number 1 as a comic. Do you believe that, Cristiano?
What?
I don't have Star Wars number 1 in a comic. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that. I only want it in high grade. You know, I'm a snob when it comes to that. But you know, to me, Star Wars wasn't a comic book. Those were 2 separate things. Star Wars were my action figures. Those were my toys. Comics were comics. They were completely separate. So the executive producer, Bernie1869, does break my stones about it quite often, but I'll get it all in good time. Now, I absolutely love these variants. These are the Star Wars action figure variants done by John Tyler Christopher. And this is the Grand Admiral Thrawn figure variant, and I love these. I've got them all. I've absolutely got them all. They're on my pull list. I don't care who's on the cover, whether it's a Twin City Cloud pilot, a Bespin soldier, a Hoth stormtrooper, an Ugnaught. I don't care. I want them all. It reminds me of my childhood, and that's when life was good. Not to say that I don't have a good life. I have 3 beautiful kids, a beautiful wife, a great job, great friends, great family. But when you're a kid, life is the best. You know, you don't have to worry about anything. So that's why I really, really enjoy these right here. If you guys are on live right now, give me a couple thumbs up. Give me a couple shares. I really appreciate that. So this is the John Tyler Christopher thing. I've met John Tyler Christopher. He's a great guy. And if you have any of these books, check for his signature, because he's not somebody who staples his signature. He writes it very, very small, and he actually writes it on the side of the figure going down in a very, very fine pen. So he often says that he does go into shops and sign books and leaves them there. So, you know, he writes it right down the side in a fine pen. So, you know, if you have it, if you ever get a chance to meet him, please talk to him. Bring up the Boba Fett story, because when he did the Boba Fett cover, he actually had to buy into a comic book store to get the rights to do the Boba Fett cover, if that makes sense. He had to take a second mortgage out on his house in order to do it, and he'll tell you all about it. So that is definitely canon. That's for real. He'll tell you about it. John Tyler Christopher character variants. All right. Now we have a takeoff of Old Man Logan. We have oh, I apologize. Let's go back to the action figure variants. I do have, when I say I buy them all, I buy them all. This is the Twin Pod Cloud City pilot. Who was he in the movie? Don't know. I don't know. Don't care. He was in the movie. It's an action figure variant. I have it, and that's it. All right. So just another variant that's going to go in the box for these. I don't consider myself a variant whore, but I do hang out with quite a few variant whores, and it's, you know, it's definitely keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to buying all these variants. The 1 in 50, the 1 in 100, the 1 in 1,000. Listen, you buy what you can afford, right? That's the way I look at it. Do have another variant right now. I think this is Terry Dodson. This is the Old Man Hawkeye #2. Fantastic, fantastic story. Old Man Hawkeye precedes Old Man Logan. So Hawkeye, not to give you a spoiler alert, but Hawkeye does have his vision in this, and he is going blind during this story. I believe it's up to issue number 3 or 4. I'm up to issue number 2. Absolutely loving it. Love the fact that this is, you know, a post-apocalyptic period. And it's just a great storyline, great fun read. Action-packed, good stuff, all right? Now, I have the hottest variants in the game right now. The hardest book to find. It's all about the Amazing Spider-Man. Well, I want to preface this. If you think the Cosmic Ghost Rider is the hottest new character in the game, okay, I'm not going to disagree with you. It probably is. But on my side of town, this Red Goblin is the hottest thing going right now, where Carnage and Mr. Osborn merge to become the Red Goblin. I missed out on the newsstand issue. This is the Creighton Clane variant that I did pick up, so I do have a copy of this, and this is just absolutely killer. And just the detail, the way the Red Goblin is drawn, it's just absolutely fantastic. And you know what I really like about this cover the most is the glider. The glider is lit. It's red. It's demonic. It's got Carnage written all over it. Yep. Very cool, right, Christiana? Yeah, very cool. Very awesome. So just a sick book. You know, they're saying that he's not even in a book yet. You know, I think they're waiting for the 800, kind of like an Amazing Spider-Man 300. I think they're going to wait for the 800th to actually have the character in it. They're just building. And hey, you know what? If that's what they're doing, so be it. You know, that's how they're making their money. Do I think this variant game is going to implode? I think the variant game is going to implode, and when that implodes, so is our comic book bubble. God forbid it does. So I don't want it to. I've, you know, Spent lots and lots of money on my comic book collection in recent years. You know, I think that these Silver Age books will never lose value. These variants, I don't know. If you've got a hot variant, would I turn around and flip it? I probably would, unless you really, really like it. Again, then that goes to your collection. But if you're a variant guy and you like them, but if you're in this to make money and flip and buy other things, that's your prerogative. That's your opinion. You know, I would be flipping these books like crazy. Do I have a first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider? I do. Not with me. I do love that Secret Wars lenticular cover, though, that I do not have a copy of it. So, that's 20 minutes of my time and your time. And just want to talk about some things that are coming up. I believe we're doing a show on St. Patrick's Day the following Saturday. We're going to have our special guest. Our buddy Nemesis Prime is coming up. He's going to be our special guest star. He is our variant horror aficionado. We've got comic book talk. We're also going to talk about the challenge of the Super Friends. So if you're a Super Friends fan, if you're a Legion of Doom fan, and if this is something that you really enjoyed, we're going to go over these. We've been watching these DVDs over and over again just to memorize the stories and the characters and stuff like that. So that's something that's coming up. We're going to do a little Silver Age special talking about Silver Age characters that, you know, came out in the early 60s that, you know, were really throwaway characters that really stuck. That's why I have my first appearance of my favorite dragon up here, Fin Fang Foom. You know, he was done. Did they really think he would become popular? I don't know. But Fin Fang Foom is stuck around. He's in the Marvel. Cristiano, he's in your game, right?
Yeah.
How many coins did he take to buy? A lot?
25,000.
25,000. Does he get really, really big or really, really small?
He's really, really big.
Right. So Fin Fang Foom was a very awesome character. He was in the very funny kids character show. I can't think of it. And he was also the first character, I think, on the Build-A-Figures. I was actually online looking for it, and it's like a $300 figure. I like figures. I like statues. $300. I'll keep my Fin Fang Foom first appearance. Strange Tales number 89 with me. So, I am Otto. This is my grotto. Good luck collecting. Peace out. Hopefully I will see everybody this Saturday night. And thank you for watching, all right? God bless. Take care.
Dad.
Hold on one sec, Chris.
Oh, no, nothing. I don't need anymore. I didn't know where to like put a certain piece, but now I do.